Hey everybody, welcome to 2019. Got a little episode here for you about some predictions that I have for the coming year and kind of some hints, some tricks that I've used over the years to help me stay focused and set priorities for the year to come and not get distracted by the natural things that tend to happen this time of year in sales, because here we are, and I bet probably 80% of the reps are taking it easy right now, saying, well, I don't have my comp plan, I don't have my territory, don't really know what my manager wants me to do this year. So they're kind of downshifting, cleaning up after last year. But guess what? The clock waits for nobody. And when I see people, I certainly can see taking a week off this time of year, especially if you've made your number. You get no more deals left, especially like last week around Christmas. It was super slow. I get that. But now we've got a new year and most people are back. Maybe I'd say probably 80% are back. And to give up another week. Now, we only have 52 weeks a year. We probably take 2 for vacation. So that's, 1/50th of our year, and a good 1/50th. This time between now and I'd say Memorial Day is the crank time, meaning this is the time to fill your forecast. This is the time to build your pipeline. This is the time to reflect on last year and learn from it. Find out, who are your ideal customer profiles? Who is a perfect match for what you do? Who will buy within the window of your opportunity, meaning your comp plan? And how do you get to meet them, get to know them, get to trust them and work with them? And what ends up happening is people kind of like slow pedal into January, kind of wait for sales kickoff, which can be fun. I get it. I went from hating sales kickoff. I was a sales kickoff hater. Why? Because I always had to travel. And I'd be traveling, so it takes a day on each side. Plus, someone shows up sick, so then everyone kind of gets some kind of cold. And you're tied up for a minimum of 2 to 5 days in a room, eating Danish, drinking coffee, going out at night. And is it fun? Yeah, if it is fun. It can be fun. But sitting in the room all day listening to guys like me talk about sales, it gets old. And hearing product marketing and how much are you going to remember? That's the real problem, is that's not the way we learn. The way we learn is we hear, we do, we get feedback, we do again. It's not that just we hear. If all we took was knowledge, we'd all be geniuses by now, because we've all read the books, we listen to the podcast, we listen to the books, we've seen it. And guess what happens? That's not the way the human brain works. We live in the moment. We're stimulus response creatures, and we just don't learn that way. So when you're stuck at sales kickoff and you think, I don't have to work for a couple of days. Well, the time does not wait for anybody. And this January is such a golden month. Why? Because your customers are taking action. They are revving up. And when I get into predictions of 2019, it's a mysterious time. This is the first time in probably 5 or 6 years that the chance of a recession is out there. I don't think we're going to go into one personally, but I'm not an economist. I'm kind of a surfer of economic activity, and I've lived through many recessions. Too many to mention, but if any of you were around in the 2008, that was pretty scary. The .com 9/11 catastrophe, that was pretty scary. The early 90s, I'm really dating myself here. But once you've been through at least one, you understand that this growth period that we've been through for the last few years is unusual, meaning that if you've gotten into sales at this time, you haven't seen a recession. And what happens in a recession is very different than what's happening during a growth period. Meaning if you are a C player, you're going to get laid off. If you're a B player, you're going to be underneath tremendous amounts of pressure. If you're an A player, you may not get all the job offers that you used to get, and the company may not value you as much because you will appear like an A- B+ player because the market is retracting. It's stalling. It's delaying decisions. It's making smaller decisions much slower. And to do your job in this environment, you have to become even better. And it really determines who really knows how to sell and who doesn't. Because if you're just taking orders, or you're lucky enough to be in that role, or at least as some run rate business that kind of happens and you usher it, you work it through the system, but you're not creating it. Maybe you're making it bigger and faster, but you're not out there finding it. What's going to end up happening is that inbound goes to nothing during a recession, or just trickles. The existing accounts are pretty much where most of the business comes from. The new accounts are rare and far in between. And so that really determines who's going to be a great sales rep. Now, let's say we don't go into recession. We got another year or two or more before we do, but it's just a cycle, and it's going to happen sooner or later. So now's the time to become better. Too often people make the mistake of these New Year's resolutions. Just stop it. Just skip it. Ask yourself, am I going to do this every day for the whole year? And if you're not, don't even start. You got to make things habits. And I think you're better off looking back over the last year, analyzing it. You can do this a lot of ways without really a lot of work. You can go through your email trail. You can go through your camera roll. You can go through your CRM. If you had any kind of calendar, you can really take a half hour analysis of how well last year went. Look at the deals that did close. Look at your commission stubs. Look at your closed deals. Look for patterns, because that pattern is most likely going to repeat this year. And what I'm hearing right now, the research, they're saying 70% of salespeople, or 70% of the time, is spent on non-selling time. And most companies have you have 300% of your pipeline in forecast to make your quota. That means that 2/3 of your time is going to be wasted on deals that aren't going to close. I say spend 80-90% of your time on that 30% that will close, because that's the only deals you get comped on. The rest of it is just spinning your wheels like a gerbil in a cage. And everyone else is telling you to do just the opposite. They're telling you to work back from your number into activities. Yes, you do have to do activities. But if you take that math, I've never seen it work other than in very simple run rate businesses, meaning that you have an install base, they know you, you know them, they're going to buy sooner or later, and your job is just to make sure it happens. In that case, the activity model does work pretty well. But most of us are in the kind of green fields, given the territory that nobody wanted, and it's up to us to make the magic happen. So if you're going to make the magic happen, you have to be a lot smarter, a lot more disciplined with your time, and not look at everything as being equal. Now, there's a scorched earth phenomenon going out there. Now, it's been going on forever, but the sales automation tools have burnt out email. I kind of said email kind of jumped the shark in 2017. 2018, I think it's proven. Even the people, the experts are saying it now. I think it's about a year too late. And now with the robocalls that I'm sure you're all getting on your cell phone, I get 20 to 30 a day. I tried downloading the apps, but I've got so many contacts and everything, the app kind of blows up. That is basically destroying the phone, meaning that sales and marketing people have now put this into a machine to call people on their office line and in their cell number. So people are smart enough to know, I'm not picking it up unless I recognize it, which brings up a Darwinian element, that meaning if they do pick it up, that means they're not smart enough not to pick it up, which means they're probably not a viable account. So where does that leave us? That means that we have to be even more creative more personalized, more relationship-oriented, more human to connect with people. And meaning that your network needs to be your net worth. It needs to be fed on a daily basis. And if this whole mentality of being an employee, it is so burnt. I'm telling you, it is the death of the B2B market, because I see all these companies either dissolving or getting sold because they can't scale. They can't scale because they want to save money on salespeople, so they hire people with no experience and they give them a bunch of automation that doesn't work, and they burn the market, they burn their domains, and what are they left with? Nothing. They got a product that somebody might want. The venture capitalists basically call it an acquisition, but they sunset the product just to. You see this all the time. They're like, everyone's like, "Oh, look, we got acquired." Yeah, right. Sure, you did. And why doesn't the product exist anymore? Why is it just in maintenance mode? So, what we have to do as salespeople, we have to take our game up every year. The life of the B player is not going to be very fun. The life of a C player is going to be short-lived. The life of the A player is where it's going to be, and at the maverick level. The people who are really breaking the rules, coming up with their own systems, listening to both their intuition, their history, their skills, their knowledge. Because managers, they're trying. But managers don't care how hard you work. And telling you to work harder is easy to do and natural because they've got their own job to do. They're under tremendous amounts of pressure. They can't go out and hire A players. They get the budget for a B- player. And the market is tight, so they end up with a C+ player or somebody who sounds like a B player who is a C player, and they have to spend all this time trying to get them to do their job. So what we have right now is a great situation for A players, an okay situation for B players, but we have to bring our game up every day. And the mindless activity is returning less and less every year. I've seen this pretty much for the last, 5 years. It's been this pattern. And what ends up happening is people follow people who are in the tornado, and they think because they were in the tornado that they can fly. The old analogy, even a turkey can fly during a tornado. That's pretty much what happened. I don't want to call anybody out, and what ends up happening in sales is what worked yesterday doesn't work today. And I see this all the time, and what's being taught is what worked yesterday. And I had this with a partner, and I refused to promote their stuff. And you'll see that I'm not promoting them any further because they're just so far behind. They wanted me to promote this strategy that you use. I go, that doesn't work. And they go, what do you mean it doesn't work? I go, that doesn't work. I have all these people in my class. They're trying exactly that, and they're getting less than 20%. I'm getting 80% response rates because it's humanistic, meaning it connects with people as opposed to pitching people. Nobody wants to hear your pitch anymore because they're pitched to death. When you hear one pitch a day, people are open to it. When you hear 100 a day, people are not open to it. So review last year, find out what worked, and then prioritize, because prioritization will force out the most important thing. Ask yourself what's most important, not what you feel like doing next. Because what do we feel like doing next? We feel like taking a nap, a walk, taking a break. What do we need to do next? And what are we going to get compensated on? This will get us laser focused on the things that matter, and everything else will slip down. Because we're going to get so many distractions by good people, our managers, marketing, our customers, our prospects that will never buy, and we have to determine what is the best use of our time and be ruthless with it. If you're not ruthless with your time, you're going to get all these distractions, and at the end of the day, your manager is still going to say, what have you sold? And you're going to look into your bank account, what did I sell? Because all that matters is what you close. And that ruthless focus and the judgment of what to work on is what's going to differentiate you as a great rep. It's too easy to get distracted. The kickoff meeting, oh, I did a video about it, and people, oh, I like to see my friends, and oh, I learned so much. And it's like, yeah, okay, great. You can learn 10 times more on YouTube or on a podcast without flying anywhere. You want friends? Believe me, these people are not going to be your friends when you leave the company. It's nice to socialize, but you have your own friends. You're working. It's your job to sell. You get compensated on what you close. The idea that you need to go to a kickoff meeting to have socialization, I get it. It's fun. It's team building. That part's fine. But you're taking up a whole week of your year. So it's like 2%, 3% of your year, and a good 2 or 3%. Because if you start backing out all the downtime of the year, Saturday and Sunday, July and August, holidays, all of a sudden it's really not 50 weeks. It's more like 40 weeks. And all of a sudden this time is just critical. Do not wait for your comp plan. Do not wait for your territory. Tell your manager what you want and why you want it. Come up with a super big why you're going to go through all of this stuff this year. Be ruthless with your prioritization based off of what you want, which is most likely commission if you're in sales. Whatever it is, and what is most likely to happen, and be an insane judge of deals. Is this person full of crap? Do they match our other customers? How long have they been there? Do they have any credibility? Because it's your time, and that's the only thing that you have. So those are the main things. So I think 2019 is going to be a great year. I think we're going to see a lot of new technologies that you're going to love. I think the need to connect with people is going to be more and more important because the technology and the automation is going to make everybody look like a robot, like an AI, like a chatbot. Connecting with people is going to be critical, and thinking like other people is going to be critical. Hey, I also want to give you an update. I released the Questions That Sell course. Now, this course is really about how to use questions and design questions for your sales calls, any kind of sales call, first call, negotiating call, technical call, business call. And questions are the only mind control that we have. They're the most powerful selling tool. Why? Because they're super simple. They get the other person talking, and you get to focus them on what you want. The problem is the likelihood of us doing that in front of somebody without any preparation, any planning, is near zero because no one helps us with this. Marketing teaches us who we are and what we do and how we're different. That's important. That's has its place, but that's not how people think. People think, well, why do I need you? Well, I can live without you. Why do I need you now? Well, how are you different than what I'm doing or these other people that I have in my world? That's how they think. So here's the format of it. It's in beta. You can check it out at b2brevenue.com. There's a training tab, and then there's a link to the courses. You can schedule a call with me. If you're in one of the courses right now, you get a super discounted deal. Just check out the office hours with the details and I'll put a coupon code into the office hours chapter. And the course includes 2 1/2-hour one-on-ones with me, one to take a first cut at your questions after you've taken the course, to kind of give you some feedback, and then another one a month later to kind of review them and enhance them. And so there's no office hours with this course, but there are 2 one-on-ones with each person. All the instructions on how to do that are in the course, the first chapter, once you sign up. So check that course out. If you're in one of the courses and you're interested, check out the office hours and or contact me directly, and I will help you out. The email is in the show notes, as well as a sample email of how to get your manager to pay for the course. If you're hard up and you don't have any money, Brian, come on, commit to yourself. You are the asset. If you think or you're relying on the company, you're relying on the wrong person, because the company believe me, if we go into a recession, you'll find out how much the company cares about you. People treat salespeople like contractors, no matter, even if you're an employee. I've seen this my whole career. It's getting worse, not better. And, they all try and behave differently and act differently until something bad happens. And then it all slides downhill right onto us. So make sure you're checking that out. Also, the course's prices are going up February 1st, so make sure you sign up in January to get the best deal. If you sign up for Closing the Complex Sale, you will get included a year to excellence. It's going to be like a 12-month course that I'm building now, which includes the Questions That Sell course once it goes in production. And it's going to include everything I know about selling, meaning everything from mindset to energy to coachability to confidence to presentation, negotiations, everything that you need to get your game to the next level. It's going to be kind of crowdsourced through the office hours to get other people's feedback, best practices, best resources, how to evaluate yourself now, how to create the habits throughout a 12-month period so you can start anytime and become the best salesperson you could become and have a routine, a structure to keep it going like I do, like I need to all the time. Hey, I appreciate you listening. Let's make 2019 the best year ever. Let me know how I can help. I really appreciate everybody who's telling somebody about the podcast. Connect up with me on LinkedIn. If you see my content on LinkedIn, give it a little like, a little thumbs up. I appreciate that, and we'll see you next time. Hey, so make sure you check out my website at b2brevenue.com and connect up with me on LinkedIn or follow me on LinkedIn. I post videos pretty much every day, little helpful hints and tips, questions, answers, reviews of my podcast episodes. And if you'd like to learn more about the training classes, I've got two. One is starting the conversation, get the meeting. This is pretty much to get into new cold accounts. And the second is closing the complex sale. This is basically once you get in, how do you close that deal? So this is all targeted at business to business selling, not business to consumer. You get a year access to the courses all at once from day one, including all the recorded office hours, which is a hour-long Q&A topic-oriented one-to-many Zoom conference that I do every other week that you're welcome to attend once you sign up for the course. And you get one-on-one coaching from me in a screen share Zoom half-hour meetings, as many as you'd like, as long as I can share the content with the rest of the class. And what I do is I turn the recorder on once we start talking about the generic topic. Before I turn the recorder on and after I turn it off, we can talk about anything that's specific to your particular market and sale that you don't want to share. So you get three things. You get the coaching, you get the Q&A with office hours, you get to hear other people, and you get the full access to the content for 12 months. And you can pay for it either all at once in 12 monthly payments. It's not a membership in that you can cancel. It's a payment plan. So it's not a subscription type thing. It's a payment plan. And the idea is that you really need a year to become great at this. You need a year to really invest in yourself. It pays for itself within a week to a month. As soon as you get a net new deal out of it, you'll be psyched. And I think if you've heard the outro of the other episodes where I talk about or the student shares their experience, you'll see they'll get the results. So it's taught by me. I'm the one running it 100% of the time. And if just look at my background on LinkedIn, I sold for 25 years, pretty much the first 10 sales reps into new companies and new markets, all kinds of technology. For the last 5 years, I've been helping companies get into new accounts, win against their competition and beat them out. So if you're in business-to-business sales, it's a great way to learn what works today. If you want to talk it over, I've got a calendar link on b2brevenue.com under the training tab. So just hit training. There's 2 links there. One is to schedule a 15-minute Q&A call about the courses, and the other is to the courses themselves. So it's not just video courses, and it goes really deep with tons of real-world examples. We've got like 25 hours of office hours there where it's Q&A. People are asking lots of questions and tons of one-on-ones. So you can go through the whole sales process, see how other people are doing it, and really learn a lot. So check it out if you're interested.